Welcome to our podcast, Fuck Your P's and Q's. Andre, Hale, Brenson and Ennis, 2 college graduates that are transplants of the greater area of Seattle.
Andre, Hale, Brenson and Ennis.
Yes, spreading our awareness on modern day culture and society from a male's perspective.
Yeah, and I think for this first episode that we're going to air, it's going to pick that noise up.
All right, start it back again, man. Take fucking 35. Right. Hey, man, welcome to our podcast, Fuck Your P's and Q's. Andre, Hale, Brenson and Ennis. We're 2 college graduate transplants in the greater area of Seattle, spreading our young male perspective on modern day culture and toxic. Fuck, man.
I'll cut that out, don't worry. In this first episode, I think it's appropriate to talk about social cues, but with introductions.
Absolutely.
Because I have an example that I want to use, but since we are introducing ourselves and introducing this podcast to the public, I want to talk about, that first interaction you have with someone, because obviously the first impressions matter a lot. You have about 5 seconds for someone to be like, you know what, I like this person or I don't like this person, just based on that interaction you have with them and that vibe you get from them. So I want to kick things off with an experience I had on Friday at the club. Very interesting situation, and something that I've seen a few times and interacted with in a couple settings. But I think maybe before I tell you about it, we might just try and reenact it. So if you want to just react to this, without knowing anything, just react to it how you would react to it. Okay.
So all right.
So say I'm coming up to you at the club. I'm like, hey, how's it going, Andre?
Brenson.
So are you a DJ?
I'm not.
Oh, because I'm a DJ. I kid you not. That was literally the conversation I had, and that reaction that you had, I was like, what?
This is
okay.
All right, yeah, okay.
Then I just flipped it to my head. Would I go up to someone and say, hey, how's it going? My name's Andre.
Hey, my name's Brenson.
Yeah. So are you in sales?
No, I'm not in sales.
What the fuck?
I'm in sales. What? Dude, now that I'm thinking about it, because this is the second time you told me this story, it's do you think that individual is seeking validation from you?
I think so. Because why would he bring that up? It's because
talk about the environment.
That's who he is.
Right.
We're at a club setting, obviously. There's a DJ playing.
Okay. I
think maybe he put a lot of himself into what he does, and he's proud of that. But if it's okay to be proud of what you do and who you are, just bring it up naturally.
Exactly.
Bring it up naturally. It doesn't have to be the first thing you say. You don't have to ask me a question so you can respond with who you are.
Right.
Have a conversation with me first, and then tell me what you do. And if you're passionate about something, then you can tell me. But that first interaction will just what the fuck
is that cringeworthy, man? Dude, I think, I'm thinking about it seriously, man. That's straight seeking validation. It's kind of weird, when someone introduce themselves as their occupation, instead of saying what in essence they're passionate about, where they're from.
Yeah.
Dude, that's literally in our society. That's the first thing someone asks you. Hey, well, what's your name? Oh, my name is Brent. Oh, what do you do? Come on, man.
Yeah.
So I feel it's you're gonna cast judgment or cast a level of respect you're to give for someone.
Yeah.
That's reverse what the story you just said, but you're going to seek validation from a stranger about your DJing. I respect that. That's your passion. Go ahead. But let it flow a little bit.
Yeah. It just threw me a thought cycle of thinking, if I went up to 10 people here today, right now, how many of them would do the same thing to me? Because I don't know if it was a one-off situation or this is something that people doing a lot, but I was just so thrown back.
I'd have given a fresh facial expression. I hope he caught up on your social cues, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. In that setting, for me, I'm not going to tell someone what I do unless they ask about it, because why would I tell someone something if they're not interested in it?
Right.
And I'm not going to define myself by what I do, because I define myself by the actions I take and who I am as a person, and what I do is obviously influential on who I am, but it's different to who I am.
Right. No, I can agree with you more. I think I didn't start really realizing that until I got out of school. Mm-hmm. And this is going to correlate with what you're saying. So I had a couple leaders. I had one leader, didn't know who he was. My first day on the job, I'm smiling, having a great time, happy I'm in a professional setting. College paid off. I met my leader. He introduced himself as his name. Didn't know his occupation. Didn't know he was the leader of our organization. Mm-hmm. Didn't find out till about a week and a half later. And I also ran into an encounter in Michigan visiting a friend. I met this guy. I was talking to him in a coffee shop. Didn't tell me what he did. He told me he worked in a hospital. Talked to his wife a couple minutes later. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, he's a doctor." So I went back up to that individual. I'm like, "Hey, how come you didn't tell me you're a doctor, sir?" And this is a real life story. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Hey, because I didn't want you to cast the amount of respect for me. I want you to judge me off my character."
Yeah, I commend that so much, because if you're going to use your status to affect how someone interprets you, then are they interpreting who you are, or are they interpreting your status?
I think they're interpreting your status.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like a level of insecurity when someone casts what they do for a living?
Yes, I think it can also stem from, they put in a lot of work. You've probably had professors that say, like, call me professor or call me doctor, or
right.
Because they earn that and they feel like they should be commended for the work they put in. But maybe that comes from entitlement as well.
I think it comes from excuse my language, a dick swinging contest.
Yeah.
Because say someone I'm not knocking anybody's passion or their hard work, but I mean, some of your accomplishments would be like accredited by who you are. Mm-hmm. So you illustrating who you are before I even can gauge on what type of influence you have on me. It's kind of like the steering me from actually giving you that.
Like for me, I've had a situation where you said like you didn't know their status until afterwards. You probably had a lot more respect for them because they didn't tell you straight away.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. Because they're secure with who they are. Mm-hmm. They understand what the process they had to endure to get to where they are, and they're not flaunting that. You know what I mean? Like they're not flaunting that. Like, hey, hold me to a higher standard. I do this. I do that. No, for me personally, I think that's how you individually perceive things. I don't care what you do for a living. I care more about your values and how you present yourself to the world and how you literally communicate with others around you. Mm-hmm. I find way more respect given from myself to others when they conduct themselves, not in a professional manner, but like a personable, loving fashion. Because I know people that have shit jobs that are really, really high on my value book. You know what I mean? It really doesn't matter, but other people value different things.
Yeah. Well, I had that same kind of interaction where, first week on the job, still trying to figure out like everyone's positions, the names of everyone still, and
6 months later,
still figuring it out. But we had an event that we hosted here in downtown Seattle, and the Vice President of America came out to the event, but I didn't know who like the Vice President of America yet was for the company. So we went out to dinner after the event, just like congratulate all the employees. They took us all out, and I sat next to him the whole night. And really chill guy, super down to earth, casual, joking around. And then 3 weeks later, I come to find out that he's the Vice President of America, and I was literally calling him by his first name,
right?
And just be like, "Yo, hey, what's up, mate? Like, how you doing?
What's up, mate?"
Luckily, he's from down under as well, so it's fine. But yeah, like him not introducing himself as that title, but just as who he is, and not even saying I'm Mr. This, just like literally this is my first name, last name, this is who I am.
That speaks volumes on their character, man.
Yeah, and like
100%.
Looking back now of that interaction, I have way more respect for someone like that because they let their title go away.
Absolutely.
And they were just, genuine and real with me.
Absolutely. Really personal. I mean that's one thing. Or how keen were you on taking a role after school and evaluating leadership? And I'm gonna simplify it. So like when you took your job offer, did you do any evaluating on the leadership, like your management?
No, because I mainly just wanted the visa. But also the company I was working with was like a great company. I've already heard of them, and to me, like the company itself was so attractive. Where I was like, you know what, like I know who this company is, what they've done. probably subconsciously I knew as well they must have good leadership to get them to where they are. And the people surrounding that organization must be pretty, sharp.
Right.
So it wasn't something where, I'm looking for specific people to be in leadership or types of people. But then again, I could have started this company and leadership could have been terrible and that could have changed my whole perspective on the company itself.
Right.
But it hasn't been like that.
Okay, that's the absolute blessing. Before I took my role, I'm like, hey, I literally asked my direct manager, what's your leadership style? Because I know one thing I value as an individual is great leadership. And then, you learn from bad leadership as well. But being a young professional, like for myself, was very keen that I was under somebody that leads efficiently. Because, as humans, we retain energy and lessons from other individuals. So I wanted to be around people that demonstrated great leadership. So one day that when I'm in the leadership role, I'll, actively be the same or better leadership than I was presented straight out of school.
Yeah. Do you look for those individuals in those leadership positions to see how they interact with their employees, or do you look for certain characteristics in all kinds of people you interact with to say, like, you know what, I see how you interact with that person. I really respect how you did that, and I want to encompass that when I get to that position? Or is it more of those people you look at just in the leadership position? You're like, I'm kind of tracking what they do more, or is it everyone?
Are you talking about am I engaging people that aren't?
Yeah, like you can look at people in leadership roles and see how they do different things. Say, you know what, I like the way you did that, or I didn't like the way you do that. Do you just look at those for a leadership perspective, or do you look at, even your co-workers and your colleagues, how they interact with certain individuals and say, you know what, if I was in a leadership role, I would probably do what you did in that situation? Oh,
yeah, no, definitely. So, okay, now thank you for explaining. I think I look at everybody's actions, and because in that sense, when you're working for a big company or you're around a big organization, you're not. There's no authority figure. That's the way I look at things. So, from a personal experience, anybody that I encounter, I take away as much as I can from an individual. It doesn't matter who they are, what they do for a living. If they have characteristics or they're displaying actions that I can make applicable to my life, I take that from them. Specifically, I ran into a situation with a leader at the organization I work for, and it was third perspective. We were at a social event. Somebody from an outside vendor, didn't know anybody there. Literally was like, hey, what's your name? My name's Greg. Didn't say, hey, I'm the president of this company. I'm the leader of this organization. Individual woman said, hey, what's your name? My name's Greg. Exchanged names, kept it moving, it spoke volume. It literally got to me because everybody strives, not everybody. Initially, you strive for the title, man. But if you're secure with yourself and have a good understanding of what you apply to your organization, your daily actions, it's crazy to me.
Man, at the end of the day, a title doesn't mean shit.
It really doesn't.
You can be at a 4-person company and be the chief marketing officer, but what does that mean? You're at a 4-person company. It doesn't mean shit.
Right.
You're at a 1,000-person company and you're chief marketing officer. Okay, I know that you have a lot more responsibilities than that other person at a 4-person company. So, yeah, titles represent something, but also you put it in perspective, where are they at?
Right. No,
what are they doing?
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You finish yours because I was going to bring things back to the beginning.
No, bring it back.
I was going to bring it back to the start and the example I gave about that interaction I had with that DJ. I don't want to be here talking shit about someone, but I'd rather, talk about what could have been different in that setting to be me be like, oh, well, I'll engage in a conversation with you now and I won't be cringed out by that interaction.
Cringe. It's a very descriptive word.
Very cringe.
Cringe. I was cringed.
So thinking when you were talking and just in this little discussion here, obviously it's okay to get to a topic that you're comfortable talking about and you want to talk about. For him, he wanted to talk about music and DJing and all that. But to get to that topic, you could have just asked, what do I do?
Right.
And I would have told you. And then I would have asked back saying, what do you do? And then we could have engaged that topic about DJing and all that. But I think the fact that he tried to narrow the conversation into something that he knew was going to be talked about straight away versus letting it get to that point. That's what made me so cringed out.
Threw you off immediately.
Yeah.
And this is a sidebar. How comfortable are you asking people, what do you do? Like, do you as a person, Andre Hale, do you individually hey, what do you do? Do you bring that to conversation?
It depends on the setting. Like, I don't know if you're at a club and a bar.
What do you do?
I wouldn't ask that straight away, maybe.
Okay. A lot of people do ask that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing, like, in America or...
Have you had encounters in Australia with that? Do people ask people, like, hey, what do you do?
Yes, but I think here it's more of like a, what do you do so I can judge what you do?
Okay.
Versus in Australia, it's like, oh, I want to know, like, what you do, so, like, because I want to talk about what you do.
Right.
And, like, I might have questions about what you do. Versus here, I think if someone's asked me that, it's always to judge... Judge like what I do and say like, oh well, I do this.
Right.
Because those are the people that will ask, like the people that can be arrogant about it.
Yeah,
they'll be the ones to say, "What do you do?" Because I know I do something better than you.
Exactly. That's what I do half the time, and people get thrown the hell off. They're like, "Hey, what do you do?" I tell them, "Hey, I rap." Add me on SoundCloud. No disrespect.
In my mom's basement, and I paint masterpieces. So.
Absolutely, no disrespect to anybody's passion with music, man. That's just like it shows like that individual. Like, so if like, you know, they're asking me what I do and I say I'm a rapper, like I rap, like they give me that facial expression. I already know that's the vibe. Like I'm not going to associate with you because now you're judging me and I got red hand evidence that you're judging me.
But if they were like, you rap and then they were curious about it, say like, well, what do you rap? Like what kind of area are you
what's
in?
Your name on SoundCloud?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just kidding. I do this. I do this. Yes.
So you kind of you do a little bullshit test with them.
Exactly.
Nice,
Because it may do. I mean, I value time as an individual, so I don't want to spend my time with people that don't really value, you know, another individual or cast judgment off their occupation.
Yes.
One of my homeboys growing up, man, we were young, like 18, 19. Instead of asking people what they did for a living, he'd ask them their passion. And that's something that I correlate with.
I've heard you ask a couple people that.
Oh, I always. Hey,
and
what's your passion?
You can see the light just spark in their eyes because they're probably the first time or a long time someone's asked them what their passion is.
Absolutely.
And people probably don't think about it much because they're so engraved in what they're doing and just trying to get by.
It's tough, dude. We're systematic people, you know? So, like, our culture, like, we're so systematic. People don't even think outside the box, like, what am I passionate about? And it's a sad thing.
Well, it's hard because, like, you can have a lot of interests and you might not find your passion for a long time.
And that's okay.
It is okay. And I think as well, a lot of people are scared that if they don't follow their passion, that money won't follow or money won't be there. But if you spend your life doing what you're passionate or you spend your life working and making a lot of money, who had a better life in that situation?
Ooh, what's your perspective on it? What do you think? All the money in the world doing something you don't love or doing what you're passionate about and live?
See, but that's the thing though. Like I think the reason you want to make money is to do the things that you're passionate about. So it's kind of a double negative to say like, all right, we'll work and make all the money in the world. But the people that make all the money in the world, they've got to have time to like, you know, do things that they enjoy. They're going to spend that on time on things that they enjoy.
Okay.
But ultimately, if you can do what you're passionate about and make that your whole life, then even if you did have money, you'd be spending it on your passion anyway. So,
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think I disagree, respectfully disagree.
Okay.
I think people that find their passion, doesn't matter monetary value, I think they're winning. If you're getting paid, man, like you're getting paid $1,000 a month for something you're doing that you love, like you're winning. Because think about this. So if you're not passionate about your occupation and you know your passion, how frequently are you thinking about your passion while you're working for money? I don't want to be thinking about something.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
But on that, like, if you're on $1,000 a month, you're just getting by on
Seattle.
Your passion.
You're not getting by in Seattle for $1,000.
You're not getting by. You're in the outskirts.
No, sir. I live in a tent city. You feel me?
Yeah. So
that's still
as much as you want to be like focusing on your passion, if you're not getting by, there's a lot more things you're thinking about. You're not just thinking about your passion. You're thinking about how am I going to pay the bills.
No, that's the absolute truth. That's absolute truth. I think it's a rough median. You know, make sure I feel like a lot of people fell short finding their passion and actually getting paid for it.
Yeah.
That's efficient to their lifestyle. I think it's extremely hard to work a 9 to 5 and then pursue your passion. We talked about this in our mock videos before, but that's extremely hard to do, man.
That's insane to do.
Give all the people props that do that.
Yeah, and this is a tangent right now. We can keep going down.
Yeah.
Trying to keep going down this tangent.
No, we're fucking free falling, free fall. Yeah. Fuck, man.